Hello and welcome to the British Dapper, and today we're talking about hidden gems, underrated men's hat styles you should try. So in today's video I'm going to explore the use of hats, and this is led on from a few other videos I've done in the past. But it's really about incorporating a hat into your ensemble or your wardrobe for future use. And there are many different hat styles we can talk about today, but I'm just going to focus on a few that I think would help you elevate your style from a very casual setting all the way up to a very formal setting. And it's not exhaustive, but it's just a few hat styles I think would help you along your sartorial journey. So the first one I'm going to talk about is that classic now, the baker boy hat, if you like to call it that, or a flat cap. And these are pretty much, from a sartorial point of view, the equivalent of a baseball cap. Very commonly used nowadays and very easy to wear. And as long as you get the fit right, they can look really sharp when you do wear them. And the issue is with any flat cap depends on the colour ratio more than anything else. So it all depends on the material being used and the style that you're looking for. But the baker boy cap, as an example, has segmented panels. They could be made of different coloured tweeds or all the same type. But the interesting fact about this cap is that it could be made of different types of material. So for example, it could be made of tweed, could be made of leather, it could be made of a waxed cotton, making it more of a waterproof hat. It could also be made of a fine felt type material or wool. It goes particularly well with that casual sort of look, and even in the summer months you might find something like this made out of a linen or a cotton material, much more lightweight and more breathable. But as a generality, they go particularly well with those casual looks. So for example, a tweed jacket or a submariner or a roll neck jumper, and they go particularly well with that sort of look. Maybe with a waxed jacket or a waxed coat. They are very much a very basic and casual look that I would suggest you'd wear that hat with. I don't see somebody wearing a flat cap or a baker boy cap with a suit, as an example, unless they're trying to do some sort of role play along the lines of Peaky Blinders, where you're looking at a suit, an overcoat and a baker boy cap, as an example. But if you're wearing it in a normal casual setting, I think it's a great look, and it's a good stepping stone from that to more formalised types of hat to wear. And that takes me to the next level, and I'm going to suggest maybe here we're looking at the trilby or the fedora. And I've put those together in the same classification because they are both felt hats, and they can be made out of unusual materials. So they can be made from, for example, rabbit fur, wool and beaver, and they can be really well felted hats, and they can have a range of colours, but also the style can be modified slightly, so the brim width could be changed and you get a completely different look. But when it comes to the level of formality, again, this is pretty much the mid-range. So these types of hats go particularly well from the casual tweed jacket wearer, that submariner look, all the way up to where you're wearing a suit. Depending on the situation, depends on the colour and the style of the hat. But you could have, for example, a very stingy brimmed fedora, and that gives you very much a jazz look to the hat, or a very short brimmed Trilby, and that gives much more of a different look as well. For example, ska music, that tends to use that very narrow brimmed trilby as a very classical hat for that look. But the colour schemes are really where it comes into play. So with trilbys and fedoras you can get a range of different colours, and depending on the situation you're wearing that hat, for example, if we had a haydock trilby, they tend to be a chocolate brown colour or a bronze colour, and they go particularly well with those tweeds and relaxed looks. For example, that submariner jumper or a roll neck jumper, very much a country sort of look, so they go particularly well with that sort of tattersall shirt and tie look. But they also go particularly well with wax jackets as well, that sort of country vibe. But with this, no different to the fedora, if we change the colour slightly and we go for something that's a navy colour, then we're looking at a much more formal colour, which goes particularly well with a suit, as an example. Black's very much the same as well, a much more formalised colour. So that's more the top end of, for example, wearing a suit and maybe for a business look. But it goes particularly well with those sort of functions that you'd go to where you need to dress a little bit more up. You might be wearing a tie and a jacket of some description, and therefore it's reasonable that you would look the part by wearing that type of hat. So for example, when it comes to that fedora or trilby, trilbys tend to be more in the brown range, but you can get them in black. But fedoras, moving on to fedoras, grey fedoras are great, and if you get a wide brimmed fedora and you have a contrasting headband, for example black on a grey fedora, it's a really good look, and that can go really well with not only navy or dark blue suits, charcoal suits or black suits as well. So it does go particularly well with all those sorts of colours, and it goes particularly well with that wool coat, for example. So in the winter months, a really nice fedora and a wool coat and a pair of nice brogue shoes and a pair of corduroy trousers, as an example, is a really good look. But then the next look that I'm going for is where I would class this the top end really of everyday wear with a hat, and we're talking about the bowler hat. Now the bowler hat originated by the Cook family, pronounced Cook, spelt Coke. So Lock & Co commissioned the Bowler brothers to create a hat, and it ends up, in a long story cut short, that we end up with a hat that is now commonly known as the bowler hat, and it also is known as the Derby hat, and there are a number of other different names for it as well around the world, and there are slight variations in the style as well. For example, there is the Ecuadorian, there's the French, the Belgian, there's obviously the United Kingdom styles. They're all slightly different in the way the brim is shaped or the length, the height of the actual hat itself. Very slight changes, but essentially all the same sort of hat. And they are very effective and very striking. When you see somebody wearing a bowler hat in this day and age, you can really stand out wearing one. And the Homburg is another hat that I would closely pair with the same level as the Cook hat or the bowler hat, and that is another great look and the same level of formality almost as the bowler hat. So if you see somebody wearing one of them, they really do stand out. They are lovely hats as well. They're a slightly softer felt than the bowler hat. They're made very much in the same style in a way. The only difference is it's a slightly looser material, and it has a slightly higher dome, which is then creased to give you that Homburg look. But it is a really nice look, lovely looking hat, and both of those styles go particularly well with that high level of suit wear. So we're looking at very much a business or corporate sort of look. We are looking at a very formalised look where we're looking at a suit wearer, a wool coat wearer that is potentially the most formal end. So we are looking at toe-capped Oxford shoes, and we are looking at the most formal of suits. So we're looking at charcoal grey, navy coloured suits, probably three-piece suits, and a very distinguished look. There are many other hats as well, to be fair, but I'm not really going to go into them. And we've got some of the exotics. So for example, if you really wanted to go there, you could be wearing that tweed deerstalker hat. Another great looking hat, but I think you have to be a real character to be able to wear one of those and feel confident wearing those outside the shooting fraternity. The other style is the top hat. This is the king of hats. And to be fair, a fantastic look, but something that's very, very dated in this day and age and rarely seen in public. It is a great looking hat and part of a sartorial rich history. But when we look at it in its modern context, about the only time you're going to see that is where white tie is incorporated, and it's rarely seen in the high street other than with that type of look. But if you've got the confidence to wear it, go ahead. I think it's a great look. So just a few things there to talk about that transition of wearing a hat and how it can really improve your style and your overall appearance. So if you wear a hat, let me know what sort of style you're wearing. And do you have any confidence issues about wearing a hat? Do you feel they're dated? I'd like to know. So just a reminder, if you want to add some content or you want to get more involved with the community, we have a Patreon page now, and you can become a member of that for as little as the cost of a cup of coffee, where we give exclusive content and additional information about the subjects that we're covering today in this video and other subjects. You also have the opportunity to join a forum, a group of like-minded people, and we have regular updates as well on that. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe, then please feel free to do so. We have a Buy Me a Coffee page, so if you'd like to make a contribution to the channel, then please feel free to do so. We also love constructive comments, so if you'd like to make some, jot them down below. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. And if you've got a question you'd like to pose to us or you'd like an answer to, then why not jot it down? We'll try and answer your question for you. We also like ideas for future videos, so if you want to make a contribution and make a suggestion about future content, then please, again, jot it in the notes below and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. The next video could be something that you've recommended or suggested. So until next time, take care.